The children are our future. That's fine.
I didn't burn the bridge when I left. I nuked the bridge when I left. So I loved the Broncos, and then they broke my heart because they won. They lost 4 Super Bowls in like 5 years or something like that.
That sounds familiar, Johnny. What other team has lost 4 Super Bowls?
See, this is old age, and my mind just goes to mush. You might want to edit this part out and remind me what I was talking about.
This will be in the front of the video.
Oh, this is the blooper. Yeah, this is the blooper section.
But see, there's that train of thought again. Oh my gosh, what was I just talking about, guys? I'm going to be your whole video is going to be me.
You recently sold something.
Disney, thank you.
Well, I will say, John, you got me interested in looking now.
Yeah, sure, unless Stuart rips them out of your hands.
Well, I'm not going with him anymore. That's it.
I've probably nuked that bridge if ever would get me there.
Well, as somebody who grew up near Niagara Falls and went often in the summer, I have found this episode offensive.
The 4 Bills losses, I mean, that wasn't offensive. Congrats.
Not to offend you more, but it's not just Niagara Falls postcards, it's any Niagara Falls souvenirs.
I'm not sending you that Niagara Falls snow globe I was going to.
You need to break it and put it in a poly bag and then send
that.
Do you have any Olin Mills glamour shots?
I'll have Popeye in a barrel going over Niagara Falls.
I didn't know Niagara Falls was the laughing stock of the ephemera category.
Everybody and their brother visits it and sends a trinket home.
And the fact that people like honeymoon there, I don't understand.
Now, have the Niagara Falls postcards come into their own yet, John?
These will never come into their own. Everybody's been, I mean, even though I haven't, everybody's been to Niagara Falls. I mean, it's water. It's water.
Yeah.
Is Niagara Falls postcards, are those the Beanie Babies of the postcard world?
Yes.
Remember, Wes, Niagara Falls, good.
Niagara Falls, that's where we start.
That's where you start.
Niagara Falls.
Happy first day of school.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Got my new backpack, my new shoes.
What kind of lunchbox you going with?
Oh, I'm carrying, let's see, Evil Knievel lunchbox.
There you go. Don't lose that thermos.
Well, welcome back, everyone, to the Finder Slippers Resale Podcast, episode number 25, gentlemen. Episode number 25.
What is going on, guys? Guys, exciting news. We have a subscriber for every Dalmatian in that Disney movie. Yes.
Yeah.
Plus 2 extras. So.
Plus 2 extras because, sometimes the numbers fluctuate.
But we have cleared the 100 mark hurdle, Johnny. We have cleared.
That means we're going live.
We're going to go live next week, right?
Ooh, fancy.
And we might, depending on what night we go live, we might have actually already been live by the time this show airs. So
that is a true statement. I just thought about when I said that. Wait a minute.
Doing a little time travel, but we'll either be live on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night, and this will drop on a Wednesday morning. So
I think it should be a whole lot of fun. I'm excited to get into triple digits.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's awesome.
Putting in the work, gentlemen. Putting in the work.
Wes, are you guys trying out paint samples?
Yeah. Did you like how I left that up there?
Maybe we can have everybody vote.
I turned around and looked at it and I thought, well, there's like 6 of them. I think you can see 4 of them. Yeah, we're going to have to retool the background here. So
I see that.
We're studying the paint samples.
Maybe we could have everybody comment below. Which are those blues? Or are they greens or grays?
They're grays, and there's I think one blue maybe. I think it'd look cool gray myself, but.
So we can see 4. So everyone drop in the comments 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Yeah, give me
which color should Wes paint his walls.
Yeah, and we also need to do a couple of shout outs we forgot to do last week. So just a couple of those real quick. I know that we've had Breeze Flippers commenting on a bunch of our videos, so big appreciation to them. Dawn from Right Selections has also been a big supporter of the channel, and we really appreciate her. And then the Happy Picker as well was I believe a new subscriber and commented as well. So appreciate everyone who's engaged with the videos and watched us and subscribed us and helped push us over 100. And we're keep moving forward to bigger and better things. So looking forward to it. See what the next year holds.
Love it. Thanks everybody for watching.
Absolutely. Thank you all so very much. Several weeks ago, Stuart, I had the Happy Picker and the Grumpy Picker, which is her husband. They were over on my Slim Pickers channel. We had a chat on there.
We got to meet Lori and Kyle, the Happy and Grumpies, at FlipCon, so that was really cool.
I was thinking for the live next week, if we each wanted to do a giveaway, we could come up with like 3 trivia questions, like first one to answer. Just, something small that kind of representative of maybe the things you sell, or like I'll probably give away a jar of my Franklin Hill Farms jams or jellies. But
I kind of want to win that.
Well,
can we be in it?
No, Founders Flippers personnel are not eligible.
Yeah. Nor are their families. You can't get Frizzy calling in going, oh, yeah, I know.
Founders Flippers employees, friends. Well, not friends, I guess. But
has to be friends, Stuart.
Yeah. So, I thought that would be a fun way. I don't know if you want to put this in the video this week, talk about what we're going to do. But yeah, I thought that would be fun. Maybe come up with 3 little cheat trivia questions based on things we mentioned in previous episodes. Like we could ask who's Johnny's famous neighbor. So
that's a good question.
And we would have to hopefully say consignment chats would not be eligible for that one. Molly would win.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Stuart's trying to make it so nobody can win, so nothing has to be given away. But it's like, we tried.
I don't know if y'all been paying real close attention to our episodes, but we now have a new leader for the all-time episode watch.
Yeah, I think that was the one.
Episode 22.
Yep, and that was just us, right?
Mm-hmm. Episode 22. Last I checked, it was at 128 views, and it's past, I think, somewhere around episode 10, where we had Desktop Picker and them.
130 right now, so that is our.
Yeah, I'm looking right now.
Whatever we did in those episodes right there, we need to can that and, bring it out.
I think it's the sunglasses you have on, Wes.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. No, it goes episode 22, then episode 10, then episode 21, which was the consignment chats.
Mm-hmm. What is the consignment chats up to now?
121, so it's up there too.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they're coming on too. That for me, guys, is just exciting. We've come a long way. Yeah, we took a break there for a while because I was involved in basketball season, but we're back. We're back stronger than ever. We're going to stay strong from here on.
Stuart and I are going to come to the game, and we're going to record while the game goes on.
We'll heckle West the whole game.
We're going to come at you like Little League T-ball parents. Stuart's like, I like to feel like crap for an hour once a week and hanging out with you guys.
Just a viewer tip to everyone watching. Make sure you tune into the very end because Wes is working his editing magic and throwing a little bonus humor in at the end of the video.
Stuart, is Franklin Hill Ventures looking to hire a new employee?
Not at this time. We're on a hiring freeze. My daughter is moving back here, so maybe I'll put her to work.
Yeah. Now, when will you go on the Oregon Trail, Stuart?
I will be leaving a week from Friday, so on August the 1st or 2nd, whatever that Friday is. So I'm not sure how that'll be. Probably a couple of days after this video airs.
Okay.
And then I will be back the following Thursday. So may have to join from the road or something that next week.
Yeah, remote in for us.
Yeah.
I like it.
This is your remote correspondent, Stuart, coming to you deep in the heart of Utah.
Now you're flying out. Make sure I'm getting this right. You're flying out, picking up your daughter, and then you're going to drive back, stopping along the way.
That's correct.
Maybe doing some sourcing.
May try to at least stop a couple of times so I can write it off. But
well, now does that does that help you decide on what vehicle you're going to select? I mean, you're going to get a big old van? Are you trying to source a lot of stuff on the way back, or what are you trying to do?
I don't have any choice in that. We're driving her car back. So,
okay.
So to be honest, we will not have a lot of room for extra stuff because it's going to be Rosie, me, and the dog, and then all her belongings coming back. So it will be pretty crowded in the car, I'm sure.
You know, you could pick up a hitch and put a U-Haul on the back of it.
Could. But
is she moving like out of an apartment or?
Yeah, it's an apartment. And she's getting rid of most of her stuff. She's not really bringing any furnishings home to speak of. I think other than an air purifier she bought, but she's selling the air conditioner she bought and like any of her other tables, chairs, that kind of stuff. So,
well, we definitely wish you all a good trip. Hope you're safe.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It'll be a long drive, but it'll be fun. So
that's not a bad idea, having Stuart just remote in to us, Johnny.
Yeah, just whichever night we do it. I don't know where I'll be, but I'm sure we'll be at a hotel or an Airbnb, so I can just jump on my phone and come on in.
Are you going to have your trusty sign behind you?
No, I'm not taking the sign. So.
Write it on a Post-it note.
Maybe my daughter. Maybe we'll have a special guest that night. My daughter. So
yeah.
Oh, look at that! Stuart joins us from a truck stop shower.
I just got me a 10-minute shower.
Special guest Bubba.
Or I can be on the show. And like, oh, they're calling shower number 32. That's me. No, we can have Rosie on. I can bring Rosie on with me, and she can talk about when she used to go to the auction with me. And I think we both had T-shirts that said like Franklin Hill Ventures auction team or something like that. So,
I think John is ready to come in. If you,
all right, you want me to do my introduction here?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are very excited to welcome John, also known as Popeye's Postcards, as a guest to the podcast tonight. Many of you know John from his Whatnot channel, where he has over 3,000 followers and he's sold over 8,000 lots, which is a few more than I have. He's an OG on Whatnot and was really instrumental in growing the ephemera platform to what you see today when you go in there. In fact, John can tell us this for sure, but I don't even think there was an ephemera category on Whatnot when he started. And then you can also find Popeye over on YouTube at the Popeye's Postcards channel, where he has over 2,000 subscribers and post regular content. So without further ado, let's bring in John from Popeye Postcards.
Hello, John. How you doing?
John.
Hey, gentlemen. How you doing?
What's going on, man?
How you doing, sir?
Here, I can do this.
Oh, I like that.
My wife had that made for me. Yeah, I'm not.
I like that.
and then
how you been, John?
Good.
Haven't talked to you in a while.
And then someone else just found this for me.
Nice.
Yeah. Kevin, the postcard guy, he found that for me. So I have to apologize. I went to a Foo Fighters concert last night, about an hour and a half from me. Got home like 1 o'clock. My 55, almost 56-year-old body can't handle that like I could 30 years ago. So I'm about as sharp as Jello mentally right now. So
well, you'll be light years ahead of us.
Just make up and get called on stage or anything?
There was a like a little AI feature. I think you could clean this up, but I need a lot more than what AI can do for me. Well, thank you for having me on. I actually watched the episode you think you just put out today. You put out an episode, and I watched that and a couple other ones over the last week. So like what you guys are doing. It's real good.
Well, we apologize for that time of your life you'll never get back.
I'm sure I've wasted a lot of people's time with postcards because I don't. You guys usually do what, a half hour to 45 minutes. You're going to have to shut me up because when it comes to talking, I'm very good at talking, and when it comes to postcards, I love talking about postcards. And then you add me in there. I like talking about me, talking about postcards. So it's almost like a trifecta. So you'll have to cut me off.
Well,
John,
when our 3 screens go black, you know we're done.
It's like, guys, I'll be seeing you later.
Yeah, Johnny and I are in for the long haul. Wes will start cutting you off in about 45 minutes.
Yeah, I can
I'll
talk.
just give you the referee. Hey, it's 45. Well, John, one thing before we get started talking about postcards, I had heard something on one of your podcasts. Your brother lives in Hobart, Tasmania. Is that correct?
He does. He's actually back in the States. He may be heading out very shortly. He comes back about once a year. But yeah, he's a dual citizen. I'm a little jealous.
Well, the reason why I'm speaking about that, several years ago, I had 2 of my brothers. They both played in Hobart.
Okay.
Professional basketball. So they got to play over there in the professional basketball league in Hobart. And so when I heard you said that, I just kind of rang a bell back. I was like, oh yeah, that's where my brothers played, Hobart.
Yeah, someday I'll make it over there someday. But I got a kid to put through college now, so that's where all my money's going to be going. But someday I'll make it over there. I've been to Australia when I was in the Navy. It was gorgeous. I went. It's a story for another time. But I went AWOL for about 12 hours in Sydney, Australia. So it's a great place, great times. But you didn't bring me on to talk about my Navy adventures. But you asked me anything about postcards, or you it's your show. You ask away.
So I guess first off then, John, I mean, how did you get started with postcards?
I joined eBay. Well, yeah, I joined eBay about 26 years ago. January of 98 is when I joined eBay. Out of college, I picked up the nickname Popeye because I was in the Navy, and then went to college, fraternity life, stuff like that. And a tattoo of Popeye led to me collecting little Popeye things, and I had a collection of about 300 Popeye items. And then my then girlfriend, now wife, moved into my 2-bedroom apartment. One bedroom was all Popeye, and I was like, well, I gotta grow up. And I had been buying on eBay and antique market, stuff like that, and I sold all my Popeye collections on eBay. And this was back you didn't have to have pictures. Everything was auctions. Get paid by a check. You could leave negative for people. You didn't even have to buy from them. You could just leave anybody a negative. Just the real Wild West days. So I sold all my Popeye stuff for a lot more than I paid for it. And I started looking around the apartment. I was like, what else can I sell? And once I ran out of stuff in my apartment, I went to auctions and started getting box lots of stuff. And I was real big into glassware and pottery, trinkets. I pretty much sold everything: clothing, hats, shoes, everything. And one day I found a box of paper. I got it at auction. Had some really great stuff in there. FBI wanted posters, the opening Disneyland newspaper. Made a really good money off of that. And in the bottom of the box was just a little stack of postcards, maybe 50 postcards, and I put them all up for auction. They all sold for multiple bids, and they were so easy to ship. I could just use a little mailer to ship them. No bubble wrap, nothing ever broke, which was that's a pain in the butt with pottery and glassware. And needless to say, I was hooked. I had a basement. Now, I have a basement full of stuff now, but back then it was just piles of, tools and glassware and just everything, toys. And it was just so easy to pack and ship. And I got all the other stuff went to Goodwill, or we had a yard sale, but I got rid of it all. And I just started concentrating on postcards and going to antique malls and cherry picking the dealers. And just over those, it's been about 26 years now that I've been concentrating on postcards. And
So, John, you were also in law enforcement. Is that correct?
yeah, also 26 years. 26 years as a probation officer, and then 26 years now selling on eBay. And so yeah, I wore a badge and a gun for 26 years with 3 state agencies, and then I made it into the federal government. I put 20 years in, and I was able to retire with something you don't hear about anymore. It's a pension. So they paid me to retire, and I could retire at age. I retired at age 51.
Wow.
And it was right. I that's another story for another time. But I didn't burn the bridge when I left. I nuked the bridge when I left.
No going back.
Well, what I heard from the judges through the grapevine, if I ever show back up in the building, I have to have a U.S. Marshal escorts. I did what everybody wanted to do, and I let it all out there. But yeah, it was a bad career for me, but it led me to be able to retire at 51 with a pension. I got out right before COVID. I retired November 30th of 19. And then, 4 months later, the world shuts down.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I got to spend time with my daughter, who's now going to college in a month. So yeah, bad career, but I couldn't have asked for a better thing to happen to me, if that makes sense.
John, where do you live?
I live in Maryland, originally from Pennsylvania, born and raised there, went to the Navy, got out, college. My first job was in West Virginia, so I lived there for several years, and then I moved to Maryland. It's been, probably coming up on almost 30 years now, 25, 30 years, something like that.
So that lends why you're a Penguins fan. Is that correct?
Love my Penguins. Yeah.
Well, I picked up on that real quick because I'm a major Steelers fan.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, where I grew up, you had to love the Steelers, and I watched them in the 70s when they won 4 Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
But everything back there was Steelers,
Right.
and so I switched to the Denver Broncos. I like what was the Morton, I think, was their quarterback before Elway.
Mm-hmm.
So I loved the Broncos, and then they broke my heart because they lost 4 Super Bowls in 5 years or something like that.
That sounds familiar, Johnny. What other team has lost 4 Super Bowls?
Go to 4 straight. Go to 4 straight. Go. Even Brady couldn't do that.
Yeah. So then I switched to hockey, and the Penguins, except for the last 2 years, have not let me down.
Yeah, they've been really, really good for sure.
So now, do you consider yourself a postcard collector, John, or do you mainly just run them through? And do you have any you're attached to?
No, I really run them through. I collect, and I don't even actively go out and collect. But if I'm going through a whole big stack of postcards, and there's one from my hometown I grew up in, where my grandparents were from. Actually, I think I've sold all those off. And where I live now, if I find them in a lot, I'll hold them out. And then for a while, I was actively collecting. There's a modern day Halloween artist by the name of Matthew Kirst. He has a website called Shiverbones, and he does these. He does commissions for me. That's Popeye getting boiled alive by his guys. Wow. His little veggie creatures and his cats. And I use this as my, a thank you card, or I put this on tables when I go to postcard shows. That way the people can scan the QR code, get all my links, contact me. But what I found out is, and I'm one of them, but the old curmudgeons in the postcard world, if they even have a phone, it's a flip phone that they can't access the internet on. So I did another card with email and stuff like that on there. But no, I really don't. All the Halloween cards, I kept the commission card. He does. I get the original artwork, and I frame that with some of the postcards. But even those, it's almost like I get bored with it, or I just want to move it on and I can make more money than what I originally bought the stuff for. So
is there sports memorabilia cards? I mean, we were talking about sports a minute ago, but is there sports memorabilia cards?
But one thing about postcards is it's a cross-collectible with damn near everything. And if I'm a potty mouth, it's the old Navy, the old probation officer, coming out. So I do try to temper the language, but postcards, great cross-collectible. Some of the most expensive postcards that have ever been sold are postcards, real photo postcards of baseball teams with like Ruth on them and some other ones. And I think those have gone for like $100,000.
Wow.
I routinely sell sports stadiums. In fact, I just sold one this week, sports stadium. I think it was Comiskey Park, and I can't remember which other one was on the card. But some of those can bring in real good money. Topps, I think it was Topps, came out in the 70s, a series of baseball players. So you're always going to find sports. Pretty much you can find anything. If it's ever been talked about, thought about, existed, it has been put on a postcard somewhere. And so people who like sports are going to collect sports postcards. People who collect coins, there are postcards with coins on them, and stamps and dolls and dogs and everything.
So if we come across a Honus Wagner or a Ty Cobb or a Babe Ruth, we better grab hold of those.
Yeah, I don't know if I know Babe Ruth showed up on a sports team, but I'm not sure about Honus Wagner. They may have. There's still postcards that are being discovered today that people never knew existed. So it could very well be out there.
So can you give us kind of the quick, Reader's Digest version of like the history of postcards as far as, divided back, RPPCs, linens, chromes, all that, and give us some examples of what those different ones are?
I brought visual aids. It may not, I don't know how well it'll show up on a little screen, but pretty much it all started with postal cards. The United States Post Office put out postal cards, and that was just correspondence, prepaid correspondence with these were penny cards back then. You paid a penny and you mailed it. And ones I look out for are ones with like advertising. This is the Abstinence Society from 1883. That type of stuff really goes well. And they still make, you can go to the post office right now and buy a postal card. This is probably from I'm not sure, maybe the 60s. There, you can usually tell there's up in the stamp box area, it'll be printed stamp. And again, I look for ones with advertising on them. This one's for Atlas Fish Fertilizer. So that's probably just fish poop, but people would probably find that. Then after that, you get into what's called the Pioneer era. The postal cards, I believe, were back in 1870s, something like that. And about 1893, during I think it's the Columbia Expo, World's Fair, the U.S. Postal Department, whatever you call it, put out printed, colored images of the World's Fair. And those can bring pretty good money. And those are kind of considered along the first like postcards. And the Pioneer era is, that was 1893. So it's like about 1893 to 1898. People were putting out like their own postcards. There's one out there called the Lipman series that can be, tens of thousands of dollars if you can find them. Then you get into what's called private mailing card. All these are going to say private mailing card on them. And it'll also say on there, authorized by Act of Congress, 1898. So that's pretty much when you could put, it's a non-U.S. Postal Service card. People could put these out privately. So that's why it's called a private mailing card. Distinguishable, like I said, it's going to say private mailing card. And there's going to usually be, this is only for the address on the back. So people might put messages along the front, usually down here, sometimes like all over the card. And then you got undivided back. I'll just show you the front. Undivided back. Most of these are going to be litho prints. And it's going to be just a plate. It'll always say down here, right there, this side for address only. And you can also say, usually up in the stamp box, it'll say 1 cent. And we'll see here in a second with divided back. It's just undivided. There's nothing on the back. And sometimes they don't even have.
What year were the divided back? I mean, undivided backs, Popeye?
Like 1898 to about 1907. Sometimes I always say just pre 1908, undivided back pre 1908. And then some of them may not even have those little lines on them. And it just you'll once you start handling cards, you'll easily be able to tell that that's an undivided back. And this one doesn't say this side for address only, but most of them will say that. And then you get into, this is divided back. One side is now for the address, but also now you can write your message over here. And that's, again, about 1898. I'm sorry. Yeah, about 1898, 1902 area, somewhere in there. It was a really small time frame. But we'll say 1902 to 1907. 1907, they started, I'm sorry, that was undivided back. This is 1907 to about 1918 or so. It's the Foo Fighters.
So did that require like Congress passing a law that you could then start writing the address on the same side of the message?
I'm not exactly sure if it was Congress or if it was the Postal Society. It probably was Congress. But one of those two federal agencies said, "No, we have to change it." So maybe it was Congress telling the post office, "Yeah, you can do it." Then after divided back, we get into what's called the white border era, and it's obviously known by the white border around there. Usually, these came around like a World War I era. Pretty much before World War I, a lot of the cards you're going to see printed in Bavaria, printed in Germany, and some of the postcards from Germany at that time, late 1800s, early just gorgeous lithography printing. So World War I, we're really not dealing with Germany much. So, and in order to save ink costs, they reduced the size of the image on the front, and they left this white border. At one time, I've forgotten so much, but at one time I knew how much that's reduced by and how much it saved. And then on the back, usually, it looks like a divided back, but you can almost always, it's that the way that postcard is written in the stamp box. It's pretty easy. If you for whatever reason you don't see this, the back, it's a white, but that's it. White border era. This was, I've seen them as early as 1917, again, World War I era. And these usually run into about the 20s, 29 or so. And then after 29 to about 1950, but I've also seen them up into the 60s, are linen era. And it has a very rough texture. These are all smooth. Everything else is smooth, unless it's embossed by the printer. But these have a rough texture to them. And that's what the back looks like. And they're known.
John, do you sell when people order from you, do you get more like lots and quantities, or do most people just buy one-offs?
It depends. On I have two stores. One I have, which is beside me. It's my main, I call it my main store. I have like 28,000 postcards in there. My airplane cards, which is the other white boxes you see behind me, I have about 250,000 listed in. I have like one box may have only 3 different postcards in it, but there's 1,200 postcards total in the box. So for the airplane postcards, I may get a guy come in and buy a dozen of them.
Yeah.
But under my main store, it's every once in a while I might get someone who buys 5 or 6, maybe 10 or 12, but mostly it's one-offs.
Yeah.
Something like that. But linens are, you can tell again, besides the rough kind of texture, very, very colorful. And then that ran from about 30 to 50 something. Again, I've seen them into the 60s. These are chrome cards, and all these are standard size 3.5 by 5.5. Chrome cards, they did start in like about 1939, and they stayed in this size until about the 70s and the 80s. You look at it, it's 1950s. The big majority of them, these are from the 1950s, and these are 20 years ago. These may not have been all that, people kind of poo-pooed them, but these are really coming into their own for at least probably the last 5-10 years. And I expect as the baby boomers, because this is what they remember, and this is 70 years old. So the baby boomers are like, oh yeah, I remember going to Nag's Head. This is Nag's Head from, this is actually probably from the 60s, but Nag's Head in the 60s, they may have remembered going there with their family. So that's why they're going to pay $20 for that card.
So it sounds like there's quite a bit of crossover between all these eras too.
Yes. And then you get real photo postcards. I've seen these as late as 1890s, like 1898, 1999, 1900s. The older one's going to have more of a sepia tone to them, a little bit more brown. The older ones, probably pre-30s. It could have been a guy traveling around to different towns. I mean, back in the teens, there'd be a guy in a horse-drawn wagon, and his back of the wagon would be his studio and his printing. And he'd go to a small town, take pictures of whatever there is in the town, go back to the horse and buggy, develop it. Maybe he only developed like 50 prints, and maybe went to the general store. The general store, maybe, hey, I'll buy them or the guy sell them for a penny each, and the guy may sell them for 2 pennies, and make a penny. But those cards now, if it's the right small town, some of those can get into the 1,000 plus if it's the right small town.
I guess they were all, for the most part, relatively short runs of postcards too, right? I mean,
those older ones, the teens, but then you get into like these are probably from the 50s, 40s, 50s, more mass produced, still a real photo postcards, but and when you look at it under a magnifying glass, you're not going to see any printing dots. But I'm likening it to if you go to CVS and you give them your roll of film, even they do rolls of film anymore, and they used to, have that machine that spit them out. You look at those under a magnifying glass, you're going to see little printing dots. These, even though they're mass produced, you're not going to see any printing dots. It's going to be a very sharp, clear image. But again, mass produced still, if you get the right one, maybe 50, maybe this is probably a $15 card.
So the RPPCs that have families and people like that, so were those just ones that a family would go get at a studio and they'd print some number to send to their friends, or?
Both. They had the studio props. When I look for a nose, if there's something else in the, if it's just grandma sitting in a chair, or Uncle Fred standing by a plant stand, if it's unnamed, those may only be a couple bucks. Or if it's a child like holding a stiff teddy bear or has a little pool toy, those may be $10 to $15. But the studio prop ones you look for, if there's like a stuffed animal, like a stuffed alligator or a horse or whatever, an old car. I've seen it with motorcycles. The best ones are called paper moons, crescent moons, and it was a big paper moon that people could actually sit on in the studio. And again, you get the right picture, you get the right person sitting on that crescent moon, and you're talking hundreds of dollars. Average Joe Blow coming in with his Sunday finest on, sitting on that moon, it still could be a $50 to $100 card. But if you
what if Wyatt Earp was sitting on it?
then you got a big one there. Yeah.
What if the China King of Knoxville was sitting on it?
Yeah, that would be really valuable, Johnny.
Yeah.
I think I saw one of the crescent moon ones with like a World War I soldier and an Indian sitting on it one time, and
yep.
And the way I saw it, John, was actually I bought some postcards on Whatnot, and I got sent the wrong lot, and that was in there. So I know I didn't bid on that, and it was worth a lot of money. So I ended up I can't remember who I sent it to, but I coordinated with the seller to get it to the right person. But it was a really cool postcard. And I wished I would have won it. But.
Yeah, those are several $100s easily.
You just stick it in your bag, Stuart, and just walk out.
Yeah, like I did to you with that.
Yeah, I saw that. A little thievery going on.
Yeah, a whole lot of thievery. I mean, John, I'm not big into ephemera, but the one time I go with him and try, the first thing I find, he takes it and sticks it in his bag.
Yeah.
But Stuart, that sounded like an old joke from back in the day, where you're just like a soldier and an Indian were sitting on a moon.
It does. Yeah. And I know postcards aren't for everybody. I know that. And one of the reasons, this is actually on my second YouTube channel. I had actually started a first channel back in 15, 16. And out of knee-jerk reaction, a couple years later, after I think I had 2,200 subscribers and probably like a couple 200 videos, I nuked it. I just deleted the whole thing, took a year and a half off from social media altogether, and then I slowly came back to it.
We're seeing a pattern here, John.
Yeah, it's getting to that time. I've been on for a couple of years, have the same amount of subscribers and videos. It's time now. But one of the reasons I started, two major reasons, well, maybe three, because I had illusions of grandeur that I was going to have 100,000 subscribers and be monetized like that. That's never going to happen. But I went to a postcard show, and at the time, late 40s, I was one of the youngest people there. And everybody else is in their 70s, 80s. And there were like no young people. And as a postcard seller, and what I do is I go to these postcard shows using my knowledge. I'll flip through those dealers who only sell at shows. They don't, they got ripped off on eBay 25 years ago, and they're never going back to eBay. I've been on eBay all this time, so I know current trends. I know what's selling. I know what I've sold does really well. And so I'll buy a card from them for $1 or $2, and I'll come back and flip it for a couple hundred. And so selfishly, I needed more people to feed the postcard hobby, keep it going, and so I could keep selling them. And I lost the third idea. I have no idea what my third issue was with that. Postcard shows are terrific. So I know the YouTube channel, and also to educate people. See, you can, if you want to put this in there too, at 55 years old, I was diagnosed with ADHD, which explains so much in my life. And it's just like that. I start on a tangent, and eventually I'll work my way back to it. But and I've lost it again. Let me see. Give me a second here. You may sell glassware or whatever, and you walk past a stack of postcards. You're a reseller. They're stupid little pieces of paper to you all. So why you started the YouTube channel is to tell you and show you it's not just stupid little pieces of paper. That I retired from my job knowing that any missing money could be made up with postcards. And I'm going to put my daughter through college in out of state. She wants to go out of state to a very expensive college. And I'm going to be able to do that. And postcards are going to pay for that. So As a reseller, don't just because you're seeing a stack of postcards, you know, sitting on a table, don't pass them up. You know, learn a little bit and, you know, use that knowledge and flip them. Like I said, I've sold everything else, and over 26 years, I'm like, you know what? If I can't scan it, if I can scan it, I'm going to sell it. Just because of the ease. I mean, I have 55,000 postcards sitting right beside me. When I pack, I just have to reach over here, grab a box, and pack it. And I don't have to bubble wrap anything. So, yeah, I think it's worked a little bit over the last several years. When I first started the YouTube channel, eBay had like 3 million postcards listed, and they're over 10 million today. So I'll take a little bit of credit that I've told people the ease of postcards. So.
Well,
John, if
like
someone's gonna, go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
Well, I was just going to say, it's like I said in the introduction, John. I mean, I do think you were instrumental, not just in postcards, but ephemera in general and whatnot. I mean, how much do you think Whatnot's played into bringing younger people into postcards, and not just postcards, but ephemera? Because I feel like, I mean, that category's grown as much as any other category.
Yeah.
You know, from where it was to where it is now anyway. It's not anywhere close to Pokemon and comics and all those, but...
Yeah, I agree with that. I had thought about, I think Whatnot reached out to me. They started a antiques category, or maybe it was, I think it was antiques. That might not have been the vintage decor, antiques, something. And I can't remember exactly the name of it, but I quickly ignored the email. Because I'm like, well, I'm eBay, even with its faults, I'm selling on eBay. And one time I watched Dom, the Primetime Treasure Hunter, and he had a panel of Whatnot people on there. And I was like, okay, because I was already thinking that's one of the reasons I rebooted YouTube, was I had 500,000 postcards in my house that I needed to get rid of. So I was toying with Facebook auctions. And I had started thinking about YouTube auctions because I had to get rid of this stuff. And I'd done like one little auction on another channel. They let me come on and do a little auction, but I hated, tracking people down for payments and dealing with PayPal. So I heard about Whatnot the second time, or looked into a little bit more. And back then you had to do, I think I did a video of my hoard.
Yep.
I even, right behind me is a bathroom, and I even have postcards on a shelf in there. I'm never not working on postcards, maybe not in the shower. But I even included that in my video to Whatnot. I was like, yes, I even have them in my bathroom.
When did you start on Whatnot, John? What was it, around March of?
April. I got accepted. May 1st was May 1st, 2022 was my very first show. And my first show was an all giveaway show. But during my onboarding, and that's when you had to do a video, I think there maybe 15 or 20 of us, you had to do a video chat with the person selling, or the Whatnot person. And I said, I'm a postcard dealer. And he's like, you're our first postcard person. So there were some other sellers they had some postcards, but they were selling other stuff. But I was the first true postcard seller. And estate sale. I think it was estate stuff is what the name of the category was. And so I had my first show, like May 1st was a giveaway show, and my first real show was like May 3rd of 2022, and I did almost $3,000 in that first show.
Wow.
And needless to say, I was hooked. At the time, I had postcards in an antique mall. I had about 40,000 in an antique mall. Pretty much that next week, I went and told them I'm closing my antique mall because all that was going to come to Whatnot. And I mean, I'm very free. If you watch my YouTube channel, I'm very free with my numbers. So from May until December, I was doing 1 to 2 auctions every week, and I did about 11.5 every month, 11,500 every month.
Wow.
That first year, I finished with like 91,000 sold.
Wow.
Dollars sold. And that was just stuff I had. And then I started going by more.
Wow.
And the more popular Whatnot got, and the more shows, you had to try to find a show, a scheduled time. And so that 11.5 per month dropped down to, last year it was like 9,000 something a month. And
So
this year I'm down to about six something a month.
Well, there's just so much more competition in the ephemera category. And I mean, I do think, my opinion of Whatnot is that, and I have very much the same experience with this you as starting. I think I started because of the same video that Dom did.
Okay.
I think I got accepted around the same time. And like you said, back then, I mean, it was very difficult to get accepted.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at the time, I remember in Dom's Facebook group that he had started, or it was just, I don't think he'd started the Whatnot group yet, but in the one he started, all these people were like, I've applied 3 times and gotten denied every time. And I did the same thing. I did a video of my 3 antique booth locations and all my inventory in my office, but I really didn't have I do a lot of glassware too. And I didn't know really what category I was applying in, but so I was surprised when I got accepted, but it was really difficult back then. And I think, my brother, who's never sold on Whatnot, he's bought a few things. He got an email from Whatnot the other day. You can become a seller. You don't even have to apply. Just click here and you're automatically a seller. And you watch some of the shows now. I mean, it's like people who've never even sold on any online platform and they're clueless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Whatnot's killing themselves doing that.
Yeah. I did see something that Whatnot traffic, and nothing against Whatnot. They're just like eBay, they've had their issues and growing pains. But I think I saw it was like traffic to Whatnot is down 40%. Now, I don't know if that was month over month or year over year, but I know for me personally, my shows are a half to 2/3 of what I used to do on there. And I think what sets me apart from almost every other seller in the ephemera is I'm selling bulk. I'm selling, usually it's a half pound or a pound, 50 to 100 postcards per lot. I've sold full boxes and tubs and stuff like that. One time I got through it was like 60 or 70 pounds of postcards in a show.
Wow.
So I was really getting rid of stuff on there.
Yeah, go watch Popeye's shows. He can flip through postcards better than anybody I've ever seen.
I got like freak thumbs.
And it's reference to watching other shows because people go, well, I can't do it like Popeye does. So
Yeah.
Well, John, I want to hit you before we get off here. I want to hit you with some acronyms. I want to see if you figured out what these were yet, because I saw on one of your other shows you were struggling with these. POI, PR, UB, and UN. What do those things mean?
Holy crap. Hold on. I got to write this down. I tell you, on any other day, I don't have the bandwidth or the mental capacity. Today, I've even forgotten there was a P in there. One more time. Is this all one, or is this like?
No, these are 4 different ones. POI,
POI,
PR,
PR,
UB,
UB,
and UN. I want to see if you ever figured those out, because you were on one of your shows you were talking about, and you said, I have no idea.
I don't even. In these are in relation to postcards or just in general?
I think they're in relation to postcards, because you were talking about it and you said, you know what, I have no idea.
Yeah, UB could be undivided back. Maybe UN. Maybe it could be uncirculated. POI.
points of interest, maybe
That could be it too.
places of interest.
If it's a view card, because there's two major topics or categories in postcards. You got topics, which are, I don't know, pretty cactus in the desert, holidays or people or greeting stuff. Those are topics, something That's a topic. And then there's view cards. If you can actually go to that spot right now and view what you see, a view of building, a natural landscape, street view, stuff like that. So yeah, points of interest could be it, but I don't know. PR, but I'm thinking Puerto Rico, but I don't know. So hopefully you have the answer.
I do not.
Yeah.
I was just seeing if you found them out yet or not.
No, I haven't. So maybe someone watching can help us, but yeah, I don't. There are some constants with with postcard like RPPC. I've seen people for real photo postcard, but usually uncirculated isn't one of them. You can do like UDB undivided back, or DB divided back, white WB white border, stuff like that. But it's not like those. Oh, you know what? It could be for like, I think I remember now it's coming back. It was probably more along the lines stamp people use those. And that could be because those stamp people, I know a teeny bit about the back of the postcard, and there's people who concentrate just on the back. So, but then they come up all these, UN-UPI, whatever, and they're like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And just real quick, public service announcement: you will never, ever, ever, ever find a green stamp that is rare or valuable. I'll just put that out because I always see these Facebook posts or eBay or Marketplace or whatever, and it's rare stamps. No, it's 1 in a billion. And
the rare stamps are always colors you haven't heard of, like carmine.
Exactly. But the rare green stamps, you will never, ever, ever, ever find one.
I tell you what, something I think is neat is these actual photograph postcards that you're talking about. I think it'd be neat to collect those and actually go to these places and see how much it's changed if you can find the actual location.
Yeah.
And then.
Oh yeah. And I think that's one of the appeals of postcards. Because what's this one? Somewhere in Florida, Avon Park, maybe those buildings aren't there anymore. Maybe those are skyscraper condos instead of a McCrory's 5 and Dime or something like that. Or this one from Bradenton Beach, Florida. Maybe that's all high-rise condos now. And definitely, Nags Head, North Carolina. I bet that's hotels and $1 million, $2 million homes now. So that people want to kind of be able to hold a piece of history, because that's really what postcards are, a little piece of history. What's something that looked like 100 years ago or 120 years ago now. Yeah, but I agree with you.
What's the most valuable single postcard you've ever sold or owned? Or
yeah, I've never cracked 500. I've never cracked it. I mean, I did one time. It's a real photo postcard of New York street view. I think it was in Greenwich Village or something like that. But what made it valuable, if you just looked at it, it's like, hey, it's really nothing special. But what made that one special, it was the person who took the photo. And it was a lady named Jessie Tarbox Bills, who was pretty much considered the first photojournalist back in the teens. And I sold it for $550, and the guy got it, and he said, "This has been trimmed." And I went back and looked at my auction. It was clear as day, like a quarter of an inch. Someone went from the top down to the bottom, just took a quarter inch off, but it was enough. So he returned it, and I did end up reselling that one for $250. But most recently, over the last year or two, I was finding Disney cards, and I forgot to mention continental size. Continental size is 4x6. So a standard size postcard is 3.5 by 5.5, and continental is obviously bigger. Disney, there were continental size Disney real photo postcards from Paris. They were published right before Disneyland opened, so 54, 55. and it has the characters. Like it has like Mickey in a rocket ship flying around the Eiffel Tower, and they're hand colored real photos. So what they would do is they would take the black and white real photo and then use pretty much what looked like highlighters, different colored highlighter, and they would color it in. And I was going to give them. You'll appreciate this, Stuart. I got them for free in a lot I bought. Well, I bought a lot. The person included these, and I'd never seen them before. I know Disney. I didn't know much about these. The rare Disney ones I knew about weren't these. And I was going to give them away as a whatnot giveaway. I think I had 4 or 5 of them. Each one sold for like $300.
Wow.
I changed my mind. I was like, I'll list these because I don't know them. And so then I started looking around for them. And there's a website out there called delcamp.net. It's a postcard site. And I was able to buy, I think I bought probably 15 plus of these for 3 or 4 or 5 euros each.
Wow.
And they would ship them to me, and then I would turn around and I had a seller paying me $350 each for them.
That's cool.
So yeah, they're still, I would like to find the Honus Wagner on a baseball photo. I would like to, but the thing with postcards, you never know what's going to hit. You can do research, but if you don't, it could still be that maybe there's no research out there on this place. So I've actually started doing a lot. I'm getting back into doing auctions on postcards because there's a website out there. It's called Valuable and Rare Postcards, and that's how I learned what people collect, what to look for. And this guy for the last 15 years or so he goes every month. He takes the top selling postcards and puts them on his list. A couple months ago, I was looking through the list, and I only did the top 100 out of the 200. 80% of those sold at auction, and the vast majority of those had multiple bidders. So I've started preaching that list this at auction what you would be happy with if you only got that one bidder. Never do a 1 penny auction.
Yeah.
So like this card, maybe that's a 20. Maybe I list that for $24.95 or $99. If it sells for that, I'm ecstatic because I probably only paid a nickel for it.
Yeah.
But if I get those 2 people that were like, "Dang, I really want that Bradenton Air view," and they're going back and forth, and you can push it up. But yeah, look for them. They may just be a small stack, and use. Just real quick, if it's foreign, if it's one of these continental size, I don't know if I have any. Usually like that. It's a continental size. It's actually a little bigger, but like Peru, you're not going to get $50 for this card. It's, to me, I sell these in bulk for about 10 cents each, but I'm seeing people who are now selling these for $10 to $14 because those are starting to come in. Just like 20 years ago, these Chrome cards weren't all that. Those are starting to come into their own now.
Do you ever hear from Ben anymore?
Almost every day.
What's he up to?
Reselling. He's not whatnot. The state of Ohio pretty much screwed him over, and pretty much all sellers, because they passed that law that you have to have an auctioneer's license.
Oh.
So if to sell on whatnot, if you live in Ohio, you have to pay the thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and go through the 40 plus or however long courses to sell live auctions. And that's even on eBay. Like, I guess people in Ohio can't do auctions on eBay, and so they can't do auctions on whatnot. You can list buy it now, but not do auctions. And I think Pennsylvania may be kind of along those same
lines. I've heard that about them. I mean, I know Tennessee, the auctioneer lobbies tried to do some of that, but they still have exceptions both on dollar amounts. I think it's if you don't sell more than, I think it's around $20,000 a year, you're okay. And also if you're just selling your own stuff, like you're fine, as long as you're not selling other people's stuff. But
and
we don't keep it that way in Tennessee. I
And what becomes your stuff? I mean, as soon as I buy it, it's my stuff.
Right.
Maybe I I collect it for a day, and then I get bored with it, and I want to sell it.
Yep.
So, but yeah, if you have any more questions, like I said, I can talk about postcards all day long.
Just one more thing. I mean, just like you've piqued Wes's interest in postcards, I'm sure people watching you've probably piqued their interest too. I mean, is there like any one piece of advice you'd give to somebody wanting to get started in postcards? Like best places to find them, how to collect them, I guess. And
I do have the best piece of advice I can think of right now is subscribe to Popeye's Postcards on YouTube.
Yes.
26 years ago, well, one, YouTube didn't exist, but two, even when YouTube came about, there was no me on, and I'm not bragging or anything, but really there was no me or any other YouTube postcard seller. There were none around. Even probably 10, 15 years ago, there really weren't even YouTube or resellers on there. But yeah, come to Popeye's Postcards on YouTube. I will put a little thing out there is if you want to spend, I have a membership on there, $4.99 a month. I'd put out pretty much a 24-part guide giving my business model away. I tell you everything, where to find them, what to look for, all the eras, everything you'd ever want to know about selling postcards to get started. I now put that behind a membership, and then I do a weekly deep dive, tapping into my Bolo list. I put a new video up for that every Wednesday. And I do a what sold video, which is good to build your Bolo list. I'm showing you weekly. I'm very free with my numbers. Show you how much I made or tell you how much I made. Then I show you, 15, 20 postcards that sold over the last week. And usually on Thursdays, I try to do a live. This last couple months, it's been hit or miss. But I talk, like I said, I like to talk about postcards. So on Thursdays, I try to do an hour and a half of just postcard talk. Last week, I had one of the largest eBay sellers on. His name's Mike in Greensboro. He just started on Whatnot also, the postcard dude. But we talked an hour and a half about postcards, and I thought it was a really cool interview. Next month, I'm going to have pretty much the world's largest postcard dealer, Mary L. Martin, on in August, and we're going to talk postcard. I mean, she has millions. It's a corporation, so that should be interesting. But yeah, come to YouTube, Popeye's Postcards, and there's other postcard sellers out there doing YouTube channels. But I don't think any of them have 26 years into it.
Do you have any other social media stuff, Popeye, that you do, Instagram or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. I was putting out stuff on there, but it's hard. I did my first reel a couple months ago, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't really know what I'm doing. But now I've hooked up eBay. Will automatically post stuff you have for sale onto Instagram. So I just started that, and every time I upload new items, I don't know how they do it, but eBay picks 3 of them and then does 3 Instagram posts for you. But
is that just Popeye's Postcards as well then?
Yes, Popeye's Postcards. I am on Facebook. I hate Facebook with a passion, so don't contact me at all on Facebook because I probably won't answer. And then all my Instagram gets automatically put onto Facebook. Instagram's probably the best way, or come see me on Whatnot. I try to sell on Whatnot every Saturday, and like every other Tuesday. But I know you probably want to shut me up, but just real quick with we were talking about Whatnot. When Whatnot came around, 90% out of 100%, 90% of my reselling focus went from eBay to Whatnot. I mean, that's where I was making in one show what would take me sometime, a month on a bad month.
Yeah.
So 90%. So I just for the last 2.5 years or so, I pretty much gave up on listing on eBay. I dropped from like 31,000 down to like 26,000 items, and I'm slowly building that up. I think yesterday or today, I went back over 28,000. So I'm shifting from, because I have probably 70 plus thousand cherry picked postcards that I need to get on eBay. I mean, it's probably hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars sitting in boxes over here that I have. It's money piles. It's not death piles.
Well, Johnny and I have an address you can ship it to, right, Johnny?
Yeah.
And then a couple years ago, it's one of my video series, I bought 1 million airplane postcards off of eBay. And it's a whole saga of me going from here, flying out to Minneapolis, and then driving them back in a box truck. And I still have probably 600,000 to 700,000 sitting in my garage. Oh, no, they're all in the basement now. My basement or upstairs office, or down here, that I need to get listed. So, yeah.
Well, we appreciate you prioritizing us over, making money to support your family. So.
Yeah, I'm going hungry. Yeah, I'm wasting away.
John, for sure, anytime you want to stop back in on the Finders Flippers Resale podcast, please come by. You have a wealth of knowledge about it, and it's to me, it's very interesting for sure.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe next time I won't go to a Foo Fighters concert. It'll probably be more along the lines of a K-pop concert for my daughter or something like that. But yeah, I just scratched the little tiny corner of the surface. I'm still learning. Again, I know you keep on giving me those clues to shut up, but I can't stop talking. But it's like I'm still learning. 26 years later, I'm still learning stuff every day about postcards, and I will probably never ever learn it all. I know enough to make money pretty well and tell people how to make money, but there's so much out there.
This was awesome. Thanks for coming out. I mean, I've learned a lot, and I feel like I know a little about postcards, and I mean, everything I know, I really didn't even get into ephemera till I got on Whatnot. I had no intention of being an ephemera seller or ephemera anything until I got on there and kind of fell in love with it. And, some of it's just because it's easy to ship, like you said,
right.
But
Yeah,
but just the stories that in the ephemera category versus selling a vase,
Right.
Whether it's a photo or a letter or a postcard or whatever, it's just more interesting. So
yeah. The next time you get a return for your shirt or your shoes not fitting, or it's the wrong color, or something gets broken on the way, you'll be like, I should be selling postcards.
Mm-hmm. Well, the next estate sale I go to, I'm going to walk in like a boss and go, all right, where are they?
You know what's going to happen? They're going to be like, yeah, you know what? No one likes postcards, but Grandpappy loved his postcards. And we have a box back here, and it's going to be all real photos. And you're going to find that Honus Wagner one in there, and you're going to sell it for – that's like my dream, is to walk into some place like that.
Right.
But go to flea markets, yard sales. They may not put them out because they're just stupid little pieces of paper to some people, but it's paper gold, most definitely. So ask.
Well, John, again, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having. What do we do? I wasn't on for an hour and 22 minutes. That's for sure.
No.
Okay, I could. No. Okay.
Well, have a good evening, my friend. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Do you have any Olin Mills glamour shots?
Yeah, that would be perfect. Glamour shot.
Yeah, I could scan those, so I probably would sell it. Yeah.
Just send me something, whatever you want to appear on the thumbnail. Send it to me, and I'll give it to Johnny, who's our resident graphic artist. So
I'll have Popeye in a barrel going over Niagara Falls. Happen. Okay. Well, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it, and I'll make sure I put the word out about your podcast. This was fun. Again,
awesome. Thanks, John. Appreciate you, man.
John.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to leave studio. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, John. That was really
awesome.
good.
It was good. Well, we don't understand it when they come to Gatlinburg, do we?
It's funny you were going to say that. I was going to say exactly the same thing. I'll talk to people and they go, Well, we went to the mountains near where you live. I said, you did. Where'd you go? Gatlinburg. I said, you didn't go to the mountains if you never left Gatlinburg.
Yeah, I think it's, I tell you one thing, that our kind of Niagara Falls, Stuart, is all this 1982 World's Fair stuff.
Yeah.
But I will say, I just today, I bought a print for $1 last week in the state sale. I sold that thing for $20.
Yeah, I think the Knoxville World's Fair stuff's making a little bit of a comeback, Wes. I just sold
I kind of do too.
A World's Fair plate last week. Not for a ton of money. I think $12, but that stuff before. I mean, I had a garage full of it, and I ended up getting rid of a lot of it. The worst thing to try to sell associated with the World's Fair is World's Fair beer. Every yard sale you go to has cases of World's Fair beer.
Yeah, that's all. Here, check it out.
That's cool.
It come in this, okay. And then they had this artist that they commissioned to do these things. And it's actually, I mean, it's really, it's been 42 years ago. But it come in this big old cardboard thing. Here, hold on.
Yeah, and of course the U.S. Pavilion's not there anymore.
Yeah, the pavilion, this whole thing right here is gone. They tore all that down.
And did you see they repainted the Sun Sphere to match what it was during the World's Fair? Because it was green, it was blue during the World's Fair. Then they painted it this green color, and they've gone back to the blue. It looks really good.
But this is a neat print of his drawing. So yeah, it sold for $20 for me today.
Cool.
So I'm excited about that. But yeah, I hope so, Stuart. I guess everybody around here had it, all that stuff, but I think it's making a little bit of a comeback.
I'm getting ready to list that. That's a pretty cool looking plate. So.
I picked up last week. I picked up 2 little shot glasses that had the emblem on it, the World's Fair. So,
by the way, Johnny, remember I listed that pair of high heel shoes? I think I showed them. I got positive feedback, so they must not have wore them out. Nice. I'd given them the Big Ben test. I got. He said she loved the shoes, and they went well with whatever outfit she wore with them.
You're off the hook.
Well, that is all the time that we have this evening on the Finder Flippers Resale Podcast. Again, Johnny and Stuart had a great evening with you all and our special guest.
Yeah, and big thanks to Popeye for coming on. That was very informative, and hopefully it gets everybody watching interested in postcards. Thanks to everybody who came to our live last night, and that was a lot of fun for us, and looking forward to getting to 200, and we'll do another live after that.
And be sure to put Niagara Falls on your next travel itinerary.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, y'all have a great week of reselling, and we'll talk later.
All right.
Bye, guys.